and don't forget to sign the welcome sheet with your name, telephone number, and email on the way out. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Is that all right?
Thank you for coming.
That's pretty fun. Oh, I'm sorry.
And finally,
It's on Lindell Avenue, south. Because then they're going to Lindell Avenue.
okay.
Yeah, that's a really Is there a hashtag for the event? I don't know.
What is that over there?
Thank you. And I'm serious.
I'm telling you, you are.
That's part of the grant that we're doing.
Thank you for coming
But we have to wait for the other bus now.
My hands are full.
No, I think it was the option when I was looking at schools in middle school. They're like, okay, NW on NCLB, like 759 has that back. And it just came out. So I figured, I looked at what there was like, okay, education, I need options and things. And they had like a big annual class. They would allow me to like experience
Hold it for me.
Tell her if they repeat it, they can't get it.
at least trying. I don't have the nerves you have to play football. No.
Did you see the other bus come?
That's why I don't have it. Oh, that's all right.
I got so excited about it.
Oh, look at the baby. Look how pretty she is. Look, there she is right there. Oh, I was like, ooh, I was like,
You gotta go buy some shoes.
oh, okay.
Are you interested in dolls or anything?
Or you still,
Or the concert?
oh, yeah.
Okay, so the master garden class is online. Or it's also called
Oh, that was wonderful.
It's all about all the chapters. And love to
Come on now, bus driver. It wasn't me. I wasn't making you late.
Mr. Cheney, thank you for the acknowledgement.
Well, of course. Of course. We're on the same team. Whatever it is said and done, we work together, we'll all win together. So again, I contrary to everybody's fears that we were going to try to do something crazy, whatever was in the rumor mill.
Hello, my name is Divine. I'm here with this amazing chef. Tell me why you're here today.
I was invited here to see the Project Sweetie Pie and see the operations of how the garden grows, and once again, just to witness the youth in action.
Well, just to let you all know, I am here on 14th and Oliver. Here we are having a tour of several different gardens over in North Minneapolis. As you can see, there's a lot of conversing and getting to know everyone. So, yeah, what do you expect to see?
What I expect to see is really youth learning agricultural, but learning it from, I would call, the seed to the table, that we can incorporate entrepreneurial skills, and then also teaching ways and means how to broaden, I would call, your assets and valuables to the community. And I think you'll be more marketable. I think youth will be more marketable as they learn more about the agricultural business, because the business is so wide open. And that's what I'm excited about. You guys are going to learn a whole lot about healthy eating and about sustainability, and also about how to sell and market whatever you do in life, period.
Yes, thank you. I also wanted to know, what are you exactly doing to help Project Sweetie Pie or continue this movement?
Well, on my end, I'm doing the training of the cooking, the culinary arts, and doing the curriculum that will help advance students in the restaurant business. Hopefully, when folks know more about the restaurant business, they know more about the planting, they'll know more about the marketing of the food and their product.
Okay. Well, can you give me a little bit of a background? You know, what you've been through, how you've gotten to this point?
My family first owned Ted Cook's Barbecue. That's how I got into the business. And then I had this desire to just kind of feed people. I know food brings people together, so that's been the biggest thing that I like about this. Then I moved on to Nicollet Island Inn, and then I actually taught here on the north side the Teen Culinary Arts program through TAP.
They did.
And so now I'm running my own business, and through my business, I'm working with youth and training them in getting the skills they need to move on in the business.
Well, I've enjoyed our time here together.
Thank you.
I hope that you all have a wonderful evening. This is Divine Islam and
Chef Jeff.
Chef. Hello, my name is Divine Islam. I am here with this wonderful young lady. We are here on 14th and Oliver, supporting Project Sweetie Pie, where several different gardens are being toured throughout North Minneapolis, and I have Miss Zulu with me. So what brings you here?
Oh, well, I wanted to come and see what the garden looked like, and I wanted to make sure that they didn't have a rabbit inspector. Because, you know, there's a story about Brer Rabbit as garden inspector. Yeah, because he saw a garden just like this a long time ago. But it had a good fence around it, so he couldn't get in regularly. But he saw that every day this little girl would be on the gate post, and it was her job to show away the birds. And so he saw which way Daddy went. He came up that way. He said, "Hey, little girl, you know your daddy sent me here so that I could inspect his garden." And he had a little cap that said garden inspector. And so she said, "You sure?" He said, "Mm-hmm." And she let him in, and he inspected the cabbages. Well, you know how he inspected the cabbages? You see those leaves there? Well, the big leaves that were coming off, he would take one from each plant and chew on it and eat it up. That's how he was inspecting. And then when he was so full he could hardly move, he went on back to the gate and told her he'd take care of talking to her daddy, you know, and she didn't have to worry about that. And he was ready to go. So he did that several days, and then Daddy saw that his garden was looking like somebody been picking over it, you know. And so he said, "Baby girl, anybody been in my garden?" She said, "Well, no, only the person you sent." He said, "Who did I send?" She said, "The garden inspector." He said, "Garden inspector? What did the garden inspector look like?" She said, "Well, he had a black shiny nose, he had whiskers, he had long ears, and a sharp fuzzy tail." He said, "Oh, that's no inspector, that's Bro Rabbit." He said, "Well, he's greedy, he'll be back, and when he comes back, you let him in. But don't let him out when he gets ready to go." So sure enough, the next morning he was there, and she let him in. But when he got ready to go, she said, "I can't let you go." He said, "What?" She said, "My daddy said I could let you in, but I should not let you out. And so I can't let you out." Oh, Bro Rabbit knew he was in trouble now. So he was caught inside. He was looking, trying to find himself a way out. He couldn't find a way out. And of course, Papa came along, saw him looking around the edges, and grabbed him right by the back of his neck. Stood him up just like this in front of his face. And Bro Rabbit looked at him like, "What you gonna do to me?" And Papa said, I'm gonna give you a licking. That's what I'm gonna do." And so he tied him up by his hind legs into a tree and went off to get him a big licking stick. Now, you don't know nothing about a licking stick, but those of us my age know about a licking stick, okay? So anyway, Papa went off to get this licking stick. While Papa was gone, Bro Bear, he comes walking back. And he sees Bro Rabbit hanging upside down. He said, "What you doing hanging upside down in the tree?" And Bro Rabbit said, "Oh, that's because I've been having some back trouble. And when I hang upside down, it eases my back. So that's why I'm hanging upside down like this here. I'm fixing my back." Bro Bear said, "You know what? I've been having an awful problem with my back too. Do you think if I hang upside down, it'll help my back?" Bro Rabbit said, "It sure will, because it always helps mine. I'll switch places with you." And that's exactly what they did. So when Papa comes back, of course, Bro Rabbit is off someplace looking at what's going on. And Bro Bear's hanging upside down. Papa saw that. He said, "What you doing here? Where's Bro Rabbit?" And he said, "Well, I'm helping my back." He said, "Because that's what Bro Rabbit told me." He said, "Okay, well, Bro Rabbit was hanging upside down because I hung him upside down, and I went to get my licking stick because I was going to give him a whipping for getting in my garden. So now, since you hanging upside down in his place, you get his whipping." And went whack, 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 whack. And that's the story about Bro Rabbit as the garden inspector. Okay?
Wow, where did you learn that story?
Oh, there are lots of Bro Rabbit stories. So I do a lot of reading. You know, I go to look for collections in the libraries. So all you got to do is go into the libraries and you'll find that story. I think it's in John Steptoe. It's a John Steptoe collection, I think.
Well, I mean, why were you interested in private city farming?
Oh, well, I'm very happy about what they're doing, first of all. About being able to hire young folks to work in the gardens, to see young people, you know, working in the gardens. Because, you know, a lot of times young people, you know, think, I don't want to be bothered, you know, with that's manual labor, that's hard work, you know. So some kids don't want to do it, but when they see other kids doing it or other young people doing it and see what they can do with it, which is what I think Michael and them are trying to do, then it changes a generation, you know, to be more self-reliant. Yeah.
Well, I have enjoyed my time with Mrs.
Zulu.
Zulu, and I've enjoyed her story. I hope that you all have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jordan. I'm with Project 45 and Mr. Latrell Beeman. How did you get involved with Project 45?
I was actually just talking about this just a few minutes ago. It just so happened that Michael had come into North Commons Park, one of my parks, about a few months ago. I would say about 5 or 6 months ago. And we exchanged information. He told me the story about how he was creating this development movement for youth and healthy eating in the community. So we exchanged information, and ever since then we kept in contact about his plans and what he envisioned for the North Minneapolis area in particular, but communities as a whole. So I told him any way that I could be of service, I would be glad to participate in Project Sweetie Pie's growth and development. And luckily he needed a youth team to bring to the gardens that did all of this work. And the nonprofit that I own as CEO is called CPC, Committee of Positive Change. We work on youth development aspects with a large variety and range of different youth from different cultures, different ethnic backgrounds. So I brought those youth together and suggested that they could be a part of Project Sweetie Pie's growth and development in the community and bringing health and wellness and a culture of healthy eating to our community, because it's well overdue and well needed.
I have a question. So would you be interested in doing this again next year?
Of course, I would be glad to. I would definitely work twice as harder on finding more youth from different backgrounds to come in and participate on the development that took place this summer.
Do you think there's educational features for your youth in this too?
Exactly. That is the main reason that CPC connected with Project Sweetie Pie in the first place. Because we work on growth and development, I felt that this would be a great aspect as far as development, as far as cultural development, as far as mental and physical development in the community that we are lacking as far as mentors and people to come out and have a one-to-one basis with our youth.
Well, thank you, Mr. Beeman.
Hi, I'm Mason Justin. I'm with Project Sweetie Pie. This is JP Mason. And what is your involvement with Project Sweetie Pie?
Yeah, so I was like, is the microphone talking back to me? My name is JP Mason. I'm from Youth Farmer Market Project, and so working mainly up in Hawthorne neighborhood, but with younger kids, with the YMCA Beacons and some of the schools, youth and gardening, and so met Michael through some of that, and we're just out here today checking out what's going on.
How do you like the garden?
Yeah, it's beautiful. It looks like it's doing great. I mean, I wish my cabbage looked this good. I mean, so it's a really beautiful garden.
Do you plan on helping Project Sweetie Pie in the future?
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to be involved and figure out what we can do. It's a huge movement. It's incredibly important. So.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. JCO. So, yeah. Nice to meet you.
I had the class too. I remember when they made it for guys. Come on.
My name is Jordan. I'm here with Project Sweetie Pie. My name is James. I was wondering, what brings you here?
I'm a major supporter of Project Sweetie Pie. I think that it's needed in the community. I like the work on utilizing the greenhouse at North High School as one of the first pieces the community did. I've watched this grow. I've tilled a little bit of soil, and I like that the young people are getting involved in the actual agricultural development of our community. I also think that it's important for us to realize that there's no bees anymore. The wild bee is in trouble. You know what I'm saying? The pollination and all that is being done by commercial bees or captured bees or ones that are in captivity. So it's important that we not be dependent, especially for just our basic food and needs on a cup foods. No disrespect to them, but it's important that we grow our own food. I just wish that this movements would have happened before it became fashionable, and that we could have done this. That we should have been doing this from the beginning, because historically we have been farmers and we've worked the land for a long time.
So I have a question. How would you promote this to more youth to get involved?
I think that the way I would promote people to get involved is to possibly lend their yard to be a good place for some development of some farming, some gardens, and actually get under the moniker of the trademark for Project 25 because of what it stands for and what it has been able to amass as far as support. I think that another thing to get people involved is to make vegetables a major part of all the youth development stuff. Like if we have a lock-in at the Y, making sure that cucumbers chopped up are a part of it, and getting youth to understanding the benefits of eating healthy.
You want to take a
and
pepper
knowing
too?
where your food comes from. So that's how I would say it.
Take a pepper.
Thank you for your time.
No problem, man. And I'm loving to see you do your thing out here, man. I'm glad to see y'all involved. There's a lot of shining stars involved in this process, and a lot of young people who are already doing good things. I'm just glad that we can transfer the energy to the development of our
Bye-bye. All right, brother.
Yeah, man.
No, I went to 2 funerals today, and I had to go check.
Throwing it down live in the mix.
Monologues, modeled after the vagina monologues, to introduce the world to food justice and helping people, ordinary people, tell their stories. And so I'm really proud to bring this process to Minneapolis. Hope to share it with many of you. If you have a story bubbling inside of you and you want to stand on stage and tell it, I'm your girl. So without much further ado, here are your storytellers.
No more pinches all from me. No more, no more. No more pinches all from me. Many thousand gone. Many thousand gone. No more peppercorn from me. No more, no more. No more peppercorn from me. Many thousand gone. Many thousand gone.
I wake up, take a shower, put my clothes on, and tell my mom I'll be back later. I step outside and watch my block. I nearly tripped, but keep steady as I see a group of boys walking from Farview, talking about the party they went to yesterday, knowing it was a school night. One of them had a basketball, hoping he would go to the NBA. And another had a fresh pair of J's on, talking about the ones he was gonna get this weekend. But I keep steady, minding my own. I continue down Lowry. I see a young boy with a bag of hot Cheetos, and I wonder of what could be in his hands instead. I think of what that bag of chips would do to his mind, his body, and his soul. And I think of how grateful I am to have Youth Farm in my life. I eventually end up on Broadway and see Emerge, the place where I was introduced to Youth Farm, where my ideas began to change and mold, where my values changed and evolved. I stop at Avenue Eatery, my new favorite spot. I grab a veggie club and a bag of Miss Vickie's jalapeno chips. I sit in my favorite spot right next to the door and relax in the silence and just watch. I look and I see a group of young girls with crop tops and cheetah printed leggings and weave as long as their backs. And they wonder why boys come in and right back out. Sometimes I wonder what my life would be like if I went down that road and showed my goodies to the entire world.
I'm glad I don't think my body is more valuable than my mind. How different things would be if I did. Then I see a group of young black men just standing on the corner waiting to catch the number 5. Right beside them, I see the Northside Farmers Market, filled with delicious and nutritious foods and wonderful people, but most just walk by. Well, I see McDonald's and Wendy's and Burger King 6 cars deep, not realizing the harm they're causing to themselves and their children and their children's children, the trend they are continuing, the examples they are setting. Do they know that a healthy body makes a healthy mind? That healthy food in that farmer's market has improved my own mind. I finish my sub, give my tip, and proceed out the door, and continue down Broadway. As I roam the streets of the North Side, I see a young black woman about my age, with a baby on her hip and one in a stroller. I wait and wonder if that man behind her is there for her, but he's not. She's all alone. I see this too often, and it troubles me. Every time I say to myself, I never want to be alone with 2 kids. And I say, I won't let a boy with swag and good looks distract me. I keep my head up and look at these women as examples as to what I want my life to not be like. But I also look at these women as role models, because they were able to raise these children by themselves with no man by their side. And they are strong, and I admire them for that. I later see a woman walk into a beauty supply store with her braids and a scarf, and walk out with a blonde wig on. I wonder to myself who that black woman thinks she is. I'm glad I understand myself. I look in the mirror and I see coarse hair, not blonde Goldilocks. And I love it just the way that it is. I see black women trying to be everything but who they truly are. And this has affected my evolution as a young black woman. Eventually, I make my way to the Minneapolis school building, filled with its hardworking employees, sitting in their fancy, cozy offices, while Minnesota has the largest achievement gap between white and black students. So yeah, keep up the good work. I wonder if my peers understand how important it is to be educated, and how important it is to know who is in charge of your education. I know that schools on the north side are different from the ones in Edina. I'm not stupid. I know it's not a coincidence that African Americans are struggling in school. I know who is being oppressed and how. I just wonder if my peers do too. I also see the police pull a car over full of black men, while a white male just sped through a red light. The police roughed them up real bad, Rodney King bad, but nobody said anything. I know blacks are picked on and isolated. I know who is being oppressed. Just because there's no sign on the bathroom saying colored and whites, that does not mean that the oppression has ended. I know my people haven't realized this yet. I finally make my way to the garden, where I see all kinds of lavish foods. I see cucumbers, I see collards, I see kale, I see mustard greens, carrots, potatoes, watermelons, strawberries, and peppers. But they're abandoned, and the veggies are dying. No one is here to nurture and care for this food. Why? Why am I the only one watering these plants? Why am I the only one picking these weeds? Why am I the only one harvesting this food? Why am I in this garden alone? I see all of these people around me, so there are plenty of people. This is our lifeline, our way to survive. It doesn't make sense for me to be here by myself. Is it possible for my community to see the value of a garden? Is it possible for young ladies to respect themselves and be comfortable being themselves? Is it possible for us to change our priorities? Is it possible for us to remove the blinders from our eyes? Is it possible for us to take risks? Is it possible for us to impact the lives of our community? Is it possible for obesity to end? Is it possible for McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger King, and Taco Bell to all go away? Is it possible for us to come together and change our community for the better? Is it possible for our community to be self-governed? Is it possible for us to not have to rely on others? Is it possible for Black people and minorities to come together? Is it possible for Black men to raise their children? Is it possible for African Americans to value their education? Is it possible for us to all be open-minded to change? Is it possible? Yes, it is possible. But it is up to me and her and him and you to all realize these possibilities and wait to see who will act upon them. Now we sit and wait and see who will.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us for the Soulful Monologue. If you have a raffle ticket, you might want to get your raffle tickets out.